Okay, before we get started really with the regular agenda and whatnot, I'd ask, thank you for having us, Dr.
Thank you so much, Mayor, City Commissioners, City Manager, and certainly to all of you here in attendance. I definitely bring greetings on behalf of the team here at WKCTC. A lot of my senior team is here present. Briefly, tonight is the $1 billion lotto, so they have to leave to get their tickets. I digress. But we are off to a rolling start. Classes started Monday here on campus, and certainly to several of our students watching and some here present, the important role our college plays and the collaboration with the city. We definitely appreciate that and want to underscore that ongoing relationship. And we're very thankful that you launched this year hosting this first meeting here on campus. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Reese. Our partnership relationship with the college is one of our most important partnerships. And the impact that you make on the community is it's really hard to measure. So thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, City Manager, are there any deletions to the agenda?
Mayor, none this evening.
Okay, the first presentation is from David Hampton with Kemper CPA. I guess John's going to do the introduction. This is very, very important, very exciting stuff, our audit. So.
Yes, and you can see through this, so you can see what we're doing. Completely transparent. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, tonight we have with us David Hampton with Kemper CPA Group, our financial auditor, and he's here to talk about the audit. His firm performed the most recent financial statement audit, which was fiscal year 22, and he's here to answer any questions you may have. David?
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. My name is David Hampton. I'm with Kemper CPA Group, and I'm here to present the City of Paducah's annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. Before I begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank a few people. First off, I'd like to thank John, Audrey, and all their staff for their assistance, as well as the rest of the city. This is certainly a demanding process and requires a tremendous amount of effort on their part, and they assist us in every way, and we want to recognize their hard work and efforts. Particularly, we want to recognize Audrey and John's department as they field a significant portion of our questions and testing. And second, we'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to assist you and work with your organization. So the city's comprehensive annual financial report is made up of 4 sections. So there's an introductory section, there's a financial section, which will include our auditor's report, the management discussion and analysis, the basic financial statements and notes, and required and other supplementary schedules, the statistical section, and the single audit section, which includes our reports required by governmental auditing standards and the uniform guidance. So that's an overview of your annual financial comprehensive report. I'd like to bring a few items to your attention. So first, if you'll turn to page 11 in your report, and this will be page 17 if anybody's using PDF. This page contains our independent auditor's report. The second paragraph discloses our opinion, and as noted, we've determined your statements are fairly presented in all material respect. This is known as a unmodified or clean opinion. The fourth and fifth paragraphs discuss the responsibility of the city and our responsibility as your auditors. As noted, the financial statements presented are the responsibility of the city, and we are responsible for expressing an opinion on these statements and notes. In addition, as noted in the fourth paragraph on the next page, we applied limited procedures to the required management discussion and analysis, pension and other post-employee benefit supplementary information on pages 14 through 29 and 103 through 110. Because this information is not audited, accordingly, we do not express an opinion on this information. And as noted in the next paragraph, we did apply auditing procedures on other supplementary information included on pages 111 through 130 and the schedule of expenditures of federal awards on pages 151 through 152, and determined these statements and schedules are fairly presented in all material respect. And as noted in the third paragraph on page 13, we did not audit the introductory or statistical sections. Accordingly, we did not express an opinion on this information in your annual comprehensive financial report. Next, we want to review our report on pages 153 through 154 as required under governmental auditing standards. This report discloses our findings, if any, regarding the city's internal controls over financial reporting and compliance with certain laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements in accordance with governmental auditing standards. As noted in the second paragraph, our responsibility is to consider the city's internal controls over financial reporting for the purpose of planning and performing our audit, but not for expressing an opinion on the city's internal controls. Accordingly, for the purpose of this report, we are not expressing an opinion on the city's internal controls over financial reporting. With this in mind, as noted in paragraph 4, we did not identify any deficiencies as material weaknesses which we are required to report under governmental auditing standards. In addition, as noted in the next paragraph, paragraph 5, as part of obtaining reasonable assurance whether the city's financial statements are free of material misstatements, we did perform tests of compliance with certain laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements. As noted, we noted no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under governmental auditing standards. Our last report is on pages 155 through 156, as required by the U.S. Office of Management Uniform Guidance Compliance Supplement. This report discloses any non-compliance, if any, regarding the city's compliance that could have a direct or material effect with the provisions of the city's major programs or grant agreements. These are your federal award grants. As noted in paragraph 2, in our opinion, the city has complied in all material respects with the types of compliances that could have a direct or material effect on each of its major programs. As noted in paragraph 5, compliance with federal statutes, regulation, contracts, and grants applicable to federal programs is management's responsibility. Our responsibility is to consider the city's compliance for the purpose of planning and performing our audit to obtain reasonable assurance that the city has complied with the type of compliance which could have a direct and material effect on your major federal programs. In addition, the city is responsible for effective internal controls over compliance. As noted in the 5th paragraph on the next page, we noted no instances of non-compliance or other matters required to be reported under the uniform guidance. And that concludes our presentation of the audit reports. Are there any questions that you would have for me in regard to your annual comprehensive financial report?
Yeah, I have one. I'll start. I don't know if anybody else has one, but 2022 was our first year really coming out of COVID, pretty robustly. And 2021 we were still in the middle of COVID. So I'm kind of curious what your view of the of the difference in the last year was.
Well, I will say that in the current year, your net position increased by $5.9 million. I believe prior year we actually decreased in the 2021. Your unassigned governmental fund balance is now $24.3 million. It was a little over $21 million in the past year. Your capital assets have increased $4.3 million, You've decreased your debt 2.9 million, and your general fund exceeded expenditures by 5.6 million before transfers. So I think you have recovered quite well. COVID was a strange beast for all of us. We've all had to deal with it, and I think from what I can see, you all have dealt with it as well as can be expected. So,
I have a question. I
Yes, sir.
probably should know this, but I know Paducah Power rolls up under, not Paducah Power, Paducah Water rolls up under this. Paducah Power is set up differently? Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes, they are independent of you, are not considered a component unit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Any comments, John? Are you good?
Mayor, if I could, for the listening audience at home, all audit reports, fiscal 22, this one, all the way back to 2001 can be viewed on our website at www.paducahky.gov. So you can look at everything. And the questions you asked were very good. Thank you.
Always like to get a thumbs up. So let me just say, one of the things, I mean, I'm proud of a lot of things about, being mayor of the city and leading this group, but I'm most proud of the way that we handle our finances and the way that we plan. And it's one thing that I really never worry about. Every now and then I'll go down in John's office and try to catch him doing something wrong, but I've never caught him yet. And I do appreciate all the hard work, John, and the leadership that you provide, and Audra, and the entire group. You got a great group, and thanks very much.
You've got an excellent staff down there right now. They do a very good job.
Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the things that we established about a year ago, well, one of the things, a little more context. As many of you know, maybe not everybody, but for many, many years, maybe 75 years, the City of Paducah has what we call a Duke and Duchess Award. And it's something that we implemented a long time ago. Some of you out there in the audience, maybe dukes or duchesses, and, it's something that the current mayor has the option of bestowing, trying to catch people doing good things in the community. And about a year ago, we really came up with a junior Duke and Duchess Award, because we thought that it would be a good idea to catch young people doing great things and to recognize their efforts in the community. And I got a note a few weeks back from a scoutmaster who had nominated an Eagle Scout by the name of Matthew King for a Junior Duke Award. And so Matthew's here tonight, but I just want to talk a little bit about his accomplishments. He's going to graduate in 2025 from McCracken County High School. He has a 4.0 GPA. He's in honors and AP courses. He's got outstanding youth leadership awards. In fact, you got so many, Matthew, that I couldn't read them all. He's an Eagle Scout, and being an Eagle Scout is something that I have 3 daughters, so none of my daughters were Eagle Scouts, but I have stepkids and I have nephews, all of which that are Eagle Scouts. So my brother and my wife have exposed me to the Eagle Scout, and I was a Scout as a young person, but I never made Eagle. But what you have to go through in order to achieve the Eagle Scout is quite a lot of work. It's quite a lot of work, and oftentimes parents themselves get real involved with a lot of that work as well, pushing some of those those Eagle Scouts to complete the work. At any rate, I am very honored tonight to recognize Matthew King as a junior Duke of Paducah. Congratulations. Okay, we'll move on with the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The city clerk will read the items recommended for approval. Would any commissioner like any item removed from the consent agenda? Okay, then I'll ask the city clerk to go ahead and read the items recommended for approval.
Approve minutes for the December 15th, 2022 special called Board of Commissioners meeting. Receive and file documents. Personnel actions. A municipal order declaring a real property located at 416 and 418 North 13th Street to be surplus property, accepting the bid of G Squared Properties of Paducah LLC in the amount of $250 for each lot for a total bid of $500 for the purchase of said real property, and authorizing the mayor to execute the deed and all documents related to same. Municipal order declaring real property located at 1645 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to be surplus property, accepting the bid of G Squared Property of Paducah LLC in the amount of $250 for purchase of said real property, and authorizing the mayor to execute the deed and all documents related to same. Municipal order of the City of Paducah authorizing a legal services agreement at hourly rates with Vaughn Pettit League Group LLC for legal representation related to a misconduct charge issued by the City Commission, and ratifying the mayor's execution of said agreement.
So moved. Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Guest,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Gray.
Aye. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is something we have to go through every election period. That is the appointment of a mayor pro tem, someone who would step in for the mayor if they're absent. And it's traditionally been the commissioner who gets the highest number of votes. And so I'll go ahead and ask the city clerk to please read it, and then we'll discuss it.
Proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners that Commissioner Sandra Wilson be nominated and elected Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Paducah to serve in this capacity until the expiration of her present term as City Commissioner.
So moved. Second.
So, I just want to commend Commissioner Wilson for all her hard work. She's been on the commission for 12 years, is that right?
It's starting my 11th.
Starting your 11th, okay. Don't want to give you too much credit. Because you're hard to live with.
I know.
So, starting her 11th year, and she provides a lot of leadership for the city in her role as CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, and she's a valuable commissioner, the top vote getter, and a very strong leader in the city of Paducah. And I'm honored to have you as Mayor Pro Tem. So,
Thank you.
Call roll.
Commissioner Guest,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Do I usually vote? Aye. Okay.
Mayor Gray.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, we have two ordinances to adopt. That means that they're the second reading, so they've previously been read. And so I asked the city clerk to read the first one.
A proposed proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2022-06-8740, entitled, an ordinance adopting the City of Paducah Kentucky annual operating budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, the estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. This ordinance is summarized as follows, that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023, as adopted by ordinance number 2022-06-8740, be amended by the following reappropriations to increase revenues and expenditures for the CDBG fund by $1 million.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, are there any questions about this one? It's really just do you want to just review it real quickly?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Commission, this is a result of the city successfully acquiring $1 million CDBG grant on behalf of the Senior Citizen Center, and part of the federal guidelines and state guidelines require the city to amend its budget for the acceptance of those funds. These will be pass-through funds, so there's no obligation on the city, but they will be going to the Senior Citizen Center.
Great. Questions, comments? Call roll.
Commissioner Guest?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Gray?
Aye. Okay, the second ordinance is to approve a telecommunications franchise agreement, so I'll let City Clerk read it and we'll discuss it.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise for a term of 10 years for a telecommunications system within the confines of the City of Paducah, Kentucky, Quad State Internet, pursuant to the terms and provisions of Chapter 108, Communications of the Code of Ordinances, and approving and authorizing the mayor to execute the franchise agreement with Quad State Internet and all other documents related to same. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance formally accepts the bid of Quad State Internet LLC of November 11, 2022. Further, this ordinance grants a 10-year non-exclusive telecommunications franchise to Quad State Internet LLC pursuant to Chapter 108, Telecommunications of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have some representatives from Quad State, and you all would want to make comments. Do you want to talk? Would you like to come up now? You don't have to. But...
May have said that, well, you guys could vote first, but.
Don't blow it, Chris.
In December of 2019, the other company that we run, Firehorn Incorporated, was really starting to see itself confined with the infrastructure that was available to it here in Paducah. And so we had actually kind of split the country in half and had Firehorn East and Firehorn West for our infrastructure, and moved a lot of our stuff into Fremont, California. And we started making plans to move a lot of what's in Paducah down into Nashville. There's a lot of data centers and facilities available for us to put our stuff. And, a lot of people said, well, what would it take to keep that in Paducah? And so we talked to all the other telecommunications carriers that were here in Paducah. And we just found that we couldn't make those, we couldn't meet those needs with the existing infrastructure. And we also started talking to other IT service providers that have infrastructure here in Paducah. And we thought, well, what would it take to make it to where they could move their stuff out or leave it here in Paducah? And so we really started to look at, Paducah as a destination to other cities as far as data goes. And also Paducah as a transit hub from city to city, and what that looks like in the world of telecommunications. And so we had, we've talked to a lot of the tier one providers that, where AT&T and Comcast get their tech, communications. And we said, what would it take for you guys to, make Paducah one of those hubs? And so that way, whenever Dallas is talking to St. Louis, it goes through Nashville. What would it take for it to go through Paducah? And we really started to look at those requirements. We thought, wow, if we did that, that'd be a lot of infrastructure just for ourselves and a few other businesses. What could that mean for the citizens of Paducah? And what could we give them in return for that? And, at the end of the day, it means basically the fastest type of internet that anybody could get a hold of. But also, it meant that anybody starting a business out of their garage or wherever would have the same type of access in their home or office that you could get in a state-of-the-art data center in a place like Nashville or St. Louis. So we've, made a lot of partnerships and talked to a lot of people. And one of those things means that, we need to start placing some fiber optic cables within the city right away. And it's, it's really a privilege that you guys are considering that for us, because the right of way is one of the most important assets that a city holds, and it has to be well maintained and it has to be well regulated. And so we were able to really talk to you guys about what that looks like and what that means, and what parameters everybody should operate under that we're accessing the right of way. And because of the City of Paducah having such an open mind and having that engaging conversation, we were really able to come to a consensus on what access to the right of way looks like. We thank you guys for looking at this and looking at it from all angles and doing what it takes for us to be able to provide those types of services, for our own business, for the residents in Paducah and the businesses. Paducah is a major hub whenever it comes to land, air, and sea. And after tonight, data is going to be a major hub for Paducah too. So we thank you guys for all of your work. I give a special note to Michelle Smolin and Lindsay Parrish, who both work very, very hard on this. And I realize that, they kind of are chaos managers within the city and do a very, very good job at doing that. So I thank them, and I thank all the commissioners and everybody that helped make that happen. So I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Preston. Appreciate it. As I mentioned at the first reading of the ordinance, we took a lot of your suggestions. We kind of worked through a lot of the suggestions, on this. So you guys had a big impact on it and made a difference. So you should be proud of that. There's another Ursini that's signed up. Did this particular Ursini want to talk at this time? Well, come right up, son. Eli?
Hi there. I'm Eli Orsini, son of Preston Orsini.
Pull that down. So, pull that down so we can, there you go.
My dad has worked really hard on this, and he has spent a lot of time and work, and I just want you guys to know how much he has put into this and how much effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Eli. We need more advertisements like that. Good job. Good job. Okay, call roll.
Commissioner Deck?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Gray?
Aye. Okay, we have a couple of ordinances to introduce tonight. The first one, I'll let our clerk read it and then we'll talk about it.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 2-145, Order of Business, names of members present to be noted, hearing of spectators of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends Chapter 2, Section 2-145 to clarify when public is allowed to make comments at City Commission meetings and setting forth the provisions under which such public comments are allowed.
So moved. Second.
Okay, this is an ordinance basically allowing public comments. And previously, a previous commission had, and I'm not sure exactly what the previous ordinance had said prior to the ordinance passed that limited public comments or only allowed them to things that were on the agenda. This is a change. This allows the public to come and speak about really anything. So it does not have to be on the agenda. And we did a lot of soul searching, in going through this and trying to decide if this was the right thing to do. And really a lot of our discussions and thoughts were around you know, in government, you're going to get people that are, that agree, that disagree. Discussions they can be elongated. They can go on and on and on. And one of the things that I think we decided was that, you know, as long as we could be fair and control the number of people who were speaking, and to make sure that anyone that was speaking was respectful out there, and that they demonstrated respect to the commission and other people that were here in the audience, that we could allow it. And so, again, you know, we did a lot of discussions among ourselves, and that's where we landed. So at this time, is there any commissioner that is brave enough to say anything about this?
I'd say generally, it's a great idea. It just takes kind of control so that you know, it keeps things civil, like you're saying. And also, it's better, you don't have 10 people coming up and saying the same things. That puts a lot of burden on the mayor.
Well, we all have families, and so, you know, we all, there's a lot of judgment that's got to go into the way we conduct ourselves going forward. Anything? Did you have anything?
Oh, well, Mayor, it is the right thing to do. And we just hope and pray that those who bring in comments will adhere to the respect and civility that should go along with this.
Okay, we all good? Okay. All right, we have a second ordinance introduced tonight, and I'll let our city clerk please read this one.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 2-315, firefighter training and qualifications, appointing probationary period of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance amends Section 2-315C to extend the initial training period for fire department appointees from a maximum of 20 weeks to a maximum of 32 weeks.
So moved. Second.
Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, and City Clerk. I really wished I had done a little research about where the 20 weeks came from. I'm not really sure. It's been in there a long time. But because of the increasing requirements that we have to have and certifications, we're having, we barely got under that requirement this past cycle with our latest bunch of recruits. So it's just an administrative change to clean up, still hold us to a standard of getting that completed so we can get our employees on the floor and working where we need them, and allowing for those additional requirements.
I don't have any questions.
I think pretty simple, straightforward. For
Pretty
this.
simple. We like those guys. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the agenda from ordinance standpoint, and we now move to comments. And will City Manager, you have comments?
Mayor, Commission, and folks gathered here tonight and maybe watching at home, just want to remind that city services will be off on Monday for the Martin Luther King Day celebration. It is a holiday for our team members. We encourage those that are capable and willing to join in the festivities on Monday. There will be a march that'll start from the Cherry Civic Center, and then followed by a program at the school put on by the local NAACP. So just want to know that city services will be suspended on Monday for that.
Okay. Thank you, City Manager. Any comments from Board of Commissioners?
I'd like to say, this is my first meeting after being officer commissioner for 12 years, for 14 years. And I'm just glad to be back, and I appreciate the opportunity to contribute, hopefully contribute. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're counting on you contributing. So, any other commissioners, comments? Okay, we have one comment from the audience. Randall Knight?
Yes.
Come right up and...
like these chairs.
Welcome, welcome.
I actually wanted to comment upon the agenda item, talking about addressing the public, addressing the city council, and of course, Your Honor, the mayor. And anything that encourages and engenders dialogue, debate, discussion, I'm all for it. I think it's fantastic. Opening that up is also fantastic because things do come up that aren't necessarily on the printed agenda. I can only issue one caution, and that would be to entertain some dialogue where you don't get an individual on a crusade, a one-trick pony. I'm going to give you an example. I don't like the city taxes on my insurance fees. I could come up here every single meeting and politely discuss that. And that would not do the city any good, me any good. There does, like I say, encourage, engender, create, debate, discussion. There does need to be a limit to it because of people like me. That's really all I'm gonna say.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Well, we do have a 3-minute limit, which you were well under. And you know, when it gets to that 3 minutes, 3:05, 3:10, you know, we, our able city clerk has got the stopwatch down there. And so it gets a little challenging. I don't want to disrespect people. You know, I want to give everybody their say, you know, so it's like Commissioner Smith does, it puts a little pressure on me, you know, to try to figure out when the right time is. So, but we'll work through it. And I think it's a positive change, and, you know, we're looking forward to 2023. Okay, were there any, that was all the public comments, right? Okay. All right, well, we're going to move into executive session, and I'll ask the city clerk to please read the motion.
Motion that the board go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topic: issues which might lead to the discipline or dismissal of a member, i.e. commissioner, as permitted by KRS 61.8101.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Guest?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye.